15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis in the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here now, your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. Really excited for today's episode, this afternoon's episode. Computers are very, very frustrating, and we apologize for yesterday. I apologize personally. Came ready to go. Talked to my co-host pre-show. Had a nice chance to catch up on our week, and then went to my computer, and the internet Wi-Fi was gone. Didn't do anything wrong. Went and checked my router, my modem. Everything's on. Everything's clicking, and it's just gone. So needless to say, I had a really tough time, but I finally had a chance to catch somebody on YouTube, and they helped me through it with a tutorial. And it was just very, very frustrating because I am not computer savvy. I'm not tech savvy, as you guys all know out there. So my apologies for yesterday's missed episode, but we click-clack, we right back. Joining me this afternoon, my co-host, Riding Shotgun, as always, Adam Dumptruck Rupsick. Check him out on Instagram and Twitter at Adam Rupsick, RUPCZYK. Holla at the crew, DT. I guess, hey, better late than never. Better late than never, baby.
Hey, yeah, no harm, no foul. We're out here, Rob. What's up, Nickel City? What's up, Rob? Yesterday was a decent day. People might have been out and about today, kind of cold in Buff. I know our listeners aren't only located in Buff, but anybody around, a good day to kind of sit back and listen to the crew this afternoon, this gloomy 40-degree, end of day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm really excited, and we do thank you guys for joining us again. My apologies for yesterday, but I wanted to get into a couple things with you, DT, because this is that time of year before summer break where everybody's trying to come up with something to talk about. Everybody looks great at OTAs and shorts and shells, and nobody's actually hitting or doing much of real work, but everybody's got an opinion on everything. So I wanted to touch on a few different topics for sure. And you were out last week. We missed out. So happy belated birthday to the mama of the crew, Mama Rupsick. It was her birthday, and DT was celebrating with Mama Rupsick. So we missed you guys last week, but we're back. Click, clack, we're back. DT, you missed the news, man, last week. Our Bills are featured on HBO's Hard Knocks. When I saw it come on Twitter last week, I couldn't do anything but smile. And the reason is because I'm selfish and because I love that show and I love the behind the scenes looks. I know that the Bills may not be necessarily thrilled about it in respects to the brass and Van Bean and Sean McDermott, but as a consumer, as entertainment product, I'm excited, man. I'm really excited about Hard Knocks because I think it's a great peek into the backstories of some of the Buffalo Bills that we love and we follow. And if you've ever watched that show, and I know a lot of NFL fans and Bills Mafia fans have over the years, you get some good content for sure, whether it be those backstories for those underdogs or whether it be some type of rift between some type of teammates or whatever the case may be. Then you got to get a chance to see some of the families and different things like that. HBO does a really great job of highlighting some of those backstories, and we're going to talk about one that probably is going to be front and center.
Yeah, I mean, I think this squad has a lot of character in it, has a lot of storylines in it, has the MVP of the league in it. There's so many ways they can kind of go. The olden days of Hard Knocks, like the show Hard Knocks, was kind of the gritty training camp show. Yep. It showed the pops. It showed people literally grinding to make an NFL roster and kind of following that. Over the years, I think personal opinion, it's gotten a little softer as, you get in, but they're also on some bad teams, and that was kind of the rule. A bunch of bad teams get it to give them a little exposure or whatever. that
Right.
rule changed this year, and HBO couldn't have picked the Bills quick enough. They said, well, if we can get anybody, we want to go, after these guys. So I think it's going to be good. They've done it, for so long. They got to know, like, it's a professional deal. It's not going to be that much of a distraction. They're probably going to be around, but there's cameras around these guys all the time anyway. So I don't think it's going to be much of a distraction. I think they hit a gold mine with, opportunities they can go with this team. And yeah, we know the greatness of the Bills. We know the greatness of Josh Allen, and it's starting to kind of creep into the world, and people like watching them on prime time. And, the Bills are kind of the new America's team, as some people say. And I think after this, there's going to be a lot of extra fans out there. We got to take advantage on Nickel City Crew, gather up some of the people coming in on the Hard Knock crowd, and really seeing what this team is, and the identity and the culture of this team that's very consistent. The past since McDermott Bean and Josh Allen era has been very consistent, and now the world kind of gets to see that. So I'm excited. A lot of different ways they can go. Going to be some good storylines, and what better way to kind of put our labor out onto the grand scheme.
Yeah, it's funny because, when I look at it and I think about that show, and obviously, they just did their first, or I think it might have been first or second training camp, but it was like the off-season version last year with the Giants. And obviously Joe Shane catches a lot of shit because of his comments about, Saquon.
Clip of the year for them. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And I don't think that there's anything that we can really step in too much. I know that there's one topic for sure that they're going to cover that we want to talk about here in a quick minute. But when it comes to like stepping in it or something like that, these guys really don't do that. Brandon Beane doesn't do that. Sean McDermott is the king of not really saying anything. Same thing with Josh Allen. He kind of keeps it vanilla. So I don't expect there to be any bombshells or any really opportunities for them to step in it, because the fact that there's really not much for them to come after us for. The draft's over, so you're not going to be seeing the draft board. Or I remember last year they had caught a clip of different color codes, and everybody's wondering what the color codes meant. So we don't have to worry about the draft. And it's really just a training camp thing. Now, what are some of the things that you think that they're going to go over? I know that we're getting ready to talk about Jimmy Cooks in a minute, but besides him and his contract situation, I think that Keon Coleman has got to be one of the front and center really candidates for them to watch. I mean, he's funny, he's charismatic. He comes into Buffalo last year with the cookies and the coat and stuff like that, and then he has a little bit of adversity. He starts out the year a little bit slow, then he kind of picks up on that trajectory. Had a 5-game stretch where he was starting to show himself and starting to play really well, highlighted by that Seattle game. And then after that, he got hurt, and it was a little bit, it was much to be desired. And then really it kind of all came to an end, which I definitely expect to hear, which was, Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott kind of calling him out and Kincaid out at the end of the year, and just kind of talking about we need more from him. We need him to be a professional. We need him to understand how to handle himself after he comes back from injuries. I think that Keon Coleman is, front and center, besides 17 and him getting married and stuff like that this weekend. This is going to be a storyline that they're going to follow. Keon Coleman, he's gold for any type of producer. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth.
walking soundbite and video clip for sure. They're probably going to have a team just separate to just follow him around, the whole time. So I think he's definitely going to be one. Obviously, they're going to be able to highlight, 17 and the off season. You're going to see a few golf clips. The boys are going to be golfing in training camp, and they'll probably follow a round of golf with the boys. And I like the rookies coming in. Bills kind of do their own version of
the Bills Embedded,
the Hard Knocks with the Embedded series, right? And they do a really good job with that, and the media team, and that's kind of basically what Hard Knocks is. It's just the Bills version of it. And the one they did on the draft with these guys coming in, I thought was very good. And it seems like there's a lot of character. We always saw Mad Max and the way he kind of his enthusiasm, and that's going to be good, and trying to make the team. And it's a team of veterans too, so there's going to be a lot of Deion Dawkins, I think, is going to be obviously in the spotlight of that, and he likes when the camera's on him, and he gets the people going when it comes to that. So definitely Keon Coleman. I think we'll see a little golf, Deion Dawkins, and then I think the personality of these rookies is really going to shine up too.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Now, as we transition a little bit, and it bleeds into the Hard Knocks thing for sure, because OTAs are underway, and the Bills are fast at it, and Josh Allen showed up, and then I know that he got out of town because he's rumors are that he's getting married this weekend. And I saw a picture on TMZ or something like that yesterday on Twitter and talking about Josh Allen lands in California. He's got his golf clubs with him, so that golf clean that you're talking about, he's always ready to golf and get ready. But some of the things that I think that they could be touching on, Joey Bosa shows up. They said last week Thursday he got hurt, pulled, I think it was a calf or something like that. So he's out. Sean McDermott actually says that you really don't expect to see him the rest of the summer until training camp. So I know that they're getting ready for the OTAs, one more week of those, and then they'll break for summer. And he's pretty much said that Joey Bosa is going to be on the shelf. What are your thoughts on Joey Bosa? I know that I've saw a lot of fodder on Twitter and back and forth and stuff like that. My position, DT, is that I really don't care just because of the fact that it's May. And we're getting ready to turn the calendar to June tomorrow, but I need this guy ready for January to terrorize quarterbacks. I understand that it's a concern because he just got here and it's another one of those soft tissue injuries. But DT, I really don't even I'm not expecting much from him in respects to earlier on in the year. I understand that they've got that 6-game suspension for Hoyt and Ogunjobi, the Bash brothers, but really, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Joey Bosa can do if he can stay healthy when it comes time for January, man. You know, December football, January football, playoff football, hopefully into February. That's really when I need this guy to step up. I'm not too concerned just because of, the calendar. It's only getting ready to be June.
Sure, it is kind of far out. It's not like we got, a playoff game this Sunday and he's out for or anything like that. But kind of the concern, that's why we got him, because his free agency came up and the Chargers were kind of sketchy on investing back in him because of the injuries. We get him, I think, for a decent deal. And, he comes here on a 1-year prove-it deal. And, if he's not injured, he's going to be a beast and he's going to make his money and we're good. We don't even get to the first team practice, and he's injured. So it's a little discouraging knowing like the history of him is this. Sure. And then he's right on character, right out of the gate and, popping it. But you're right. The calendar isn't, it's not like we got a game tomorrow. It's not even if he's ready through training camp, like you said, we're going to need him late in the season. The kind of thing with Von Miller came in, had a great start to the year and then popped his ACL on Thanksgiving. And, we don't see him again. If we had a choice, we would have all obviously picked him to have that second half of the season and been out, if he had to be out half the season, be out the first half and come back the second half. So this isn't anything that's going to sideline this guy, through training camp or anything like that. But I would, it's a little.
It might be something to monitor, though. You might want to take ease off the gas.
Discouraging, knowing this is kind of the MO of this guy, and that's why he's on the move in the first place. We get him on kind of a risk, and then right away he's already popped it. So we'll see. I'm with you. Like you kind of talked me down a little. I'm not too concerned, but it is just like, come on, like that really had to happen, now. But maybe it's a good thing. It never happens again. He has a great year with us, and it's all worth it. But it's just kind of setting up to me that this is, this might be the situation more than once.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I think that there might be something to monitor. That's why I said we might have to ease up off the gas of him. And I don't think that they're working him hard or anything like that in respects to OTAs or anything like that. He might have just had something go on where he's practicing, he pulls a calf. It's discouraging because, like you said, it's soft tissue, it's non-contact, and this is kind of his MO and his theme. However, it might serve as a warning to the Bills and the training staff to just make sure that we ease up on this guy. We don't need to take it too hard with him in respects to the offseason. Let's get him ready to go for September, and then we'll ease him into it and kind of ramp him up as we get towards the back end of the season. Now, as we transition, one of the number one things that Hard Knocks is notorious for, I remember back in the day, DT. I don't even know if you were watching back then, but the Jets were featured. It was back when Rex Ryan was with them, the whole let's go get a goddamn snack. Well, that particular year was the Revis Island, and it was just a huge deal. I mean, it was a big, big problem. Revis was not there. They were wondering what was going on. I remember this one time towards the conclusion of it, they showed Rex Ryan going to some restaurant to meet Revis and his agent. They didn't go in. They weren't allowed to go into the restaurant, so they just got the camera outside the restaurant, and then all of a sudden they come out and the deal's done, and they're queuing up ESPN and Schefter, and they're talking about they struck a deal with Revis. But one of the things that Hard Knocks loves, and it's juicy for their content, is a contract dispute or some type of rift between the team and player. And we obviously saw that play out last year with Saquon Barkley in their offseason edition with the Giants. DT, we didn't expect Jimmy Cooks to be there in OTAs. He didn't come. We don't expect to see him next week. That makes sense. He has little leverage in this situation. The only thing he can really do is withhold his services. He does that, and he exercises that last week. We don't anticipate seeing him next week either. How do you think this is going to go? Because I know that this is on the tip of all Bills Mafia's minds, because this is really one of the first times that Brandon Beane has had to deal with this thing. We had a small version of it with Poyer, but that was really nothing much. I know Drew Rosenhaus came to training camp 1 week, and then pretty much that was it. It was over after that. Poyer wanted to be a Bill. He was going to play it out, and really never got contentious, so to speak. DT, I'm telling you, I'm not exactly sure in respects to how many different ways this thing can go, because the one thing I will say, and I want to get your thoughts on it, I do not think that James Cook is willing to not get game checks. Okay. I don't think that he's willing to go that far, but I do think that he is willing to skip out on training camp or do whatever they call it, the hold in, where he comes, he's not really working out. And I mean, the HBO cameras, they'll eat that shit up because of the fact that, I mean, this is the first time that Brandon Beane's been faced with this kind of, this kind of drama for sure. And I mean, I can't think of another case.
Yeah, no, that's true. And you can tell it makes everybody a little uncomfortable, because they're pushing like the narrative that it's all good, it's all business. We got a good relationship with them. It is what it is. They're really
he'll be here when he's ready.
and it's just like, okay, well then what's the defense going to be if this does go into training camp and he's not there? Then is it still, oh, he's in a good spot, he'll be here when he need, like, then you got to start changing your narrative a little, like, hey, like, we need this guy here. We're preparing for a Super Bowl. We need this guy. So it's kind of delicate right now. I really hope it just kind of, we wake up and, you have a headache when you go to bed, you wake up and it's gone type of thing. And training camp comes, we wake up, James Cook is out there ready to rock and roll. The few things that concern me with this, Rob, is he is not like, he's a very quiet person, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I think, in all this, if any media kind of gets a hold of him or, gets him, like, I just hope a soundbite doesn't come out where it kind of looks like it's really bad, but it's just him just not, he's not taking the above and beyond PR, like, no, it's good, we're working it out, it's all business. He kind of gives some like more of a cryptic answer just because he's a little quieter, not like he did it on purpose or anything like that, but then the media takes it and runs like, oh, James Cook ain't playing, he said, he's unhappy. And so that concerns me a little bit, that things might start getting thrown around, when they start pressing him a little on it, because he's going through the business end. The other thing that concerns me a little is he personally doesn't have the experience, but his brother Delvin does. Has been through multiple contract disputes and knows how to get his money and knows how to be a successful, player in the league. And so he's not just his agent, he's also getting his older brother saying, oh yeah, you'll be fine. Just do this.
Do it this way.
And it might, that is a little concerning.
It could get dicey.
Well. So those are my two concerns on the situation. I'm still not like super worried about it. And like we said, the leverage just really isn't there for him. He would literally just have to miss out on money, and he's not getting that much money. And and I don't think that's going to lead him to get the $16 million a year on another team, somewhere else. So his leverage is really not the greatest. It's just like, I want to get paid, get him paid.
Here's one thing. Here's one thing that I am worried about though, and I want to be honest with you about this, because you mentioned it earlier in your comment. You said we're in a Super Bowl window and we're trying to contend. So here's where it can get shitty, is because players understand when guys are trying to get their money, so they're going to stay out of it. They're going to be, hey, we support them. We understand that football is a business. There's a business side of it as well. We support him, that type of thing. We understand why he's not here. That lasts for a certain amount of time, but then eventually, when it comes time for training camp is winding down and we're getting closer towards September, and that calendar starts to turn for late August, and we're starting to get towards Labor Day, then it's a situation where I think that things could get a little weird, because of the fact that, hey man, we're trying to win a Super Bowl, we need you. And then if he does come back, is he giving his best effort? All of those different types of things are going to be starting to be questioned, because of the fact that if he's hopping out of bounds. There's a lot of different ways that it can be covered up. I remember them talking shit about Stephon Gilmore, back in the day, and they still he's in the contract year and he doesn't want to. So he had some missed tackles and stuff like that, and they used to accuse of him not sticking his nose in there because he wanted to get his money. I don't know if it's true or not, but I know that eventually he went to New England and got his money. And then what did he do? He became the defensive player of the year, and helped them win a Super Bowl. So there is a little bit of truth to protecting yourself and stuff like that. And you just talked about Dalvin as well. There's no way that he wants him to show up to minicamp. No way that he wants him to show up to training camp and not get his money because he doesn't want to risk that injury. So I'm a little bit worried because of the fact that because we're in that Super Bowl window. Here's where I look at it. I know that the metrics say don't pay running backs, and they're interchangeable. And I've heard about how great Ray Davis is and Ty Johnson. I get it. He's the most explosive player on the team besides Josh Allen, DT. And that's my only worry, is that I don't have time to mess around in a Super Bowl window with Josh Allen over pennies when it comes to the salary cap. And the salary cap is fugazi. It's fake. So because the salary cap keeps going up, TV deals keep going up, everybody's getting paid. Are we really going to quibble over he wants 15, Bills want to give him 9, or he wants 15, Bills are willing to give him 10? Can we find a way to come to the middle ground? Maybe he wants a 4-year deal. Okay, well, we'll give him a 3-year deal, or maybe he wants a 3-year deal. Can we get you a 2-year deal and just bump up the guarantees? There has to be a way for Brandon Beane to massage this thing, because I don't want it to get ugly when we don't really need the distractions right now. This is a Super Bowl window team. We're favored in Vegas to win the AFC. And I know that doesn't mean anything to a lot of people, but it just means that the Bills are really, really good. We're in a good window right now. I don't want to be messing around with this thing when it comes time for late August, man. I just don't. I just think that there's a way for this to go really bad, because the players won't be supporting him as much because we'll be getting close to the season. And then you put somebody in the corner, man, and all of a sudden, they lash out. And I'm just a little bit worried.
Exactly. And so you're saying you're putting it on the Bills now to say, hey, we get it, but you kind of just gotta.
You don't have to capitulate to him and give him everything that he wants. Yeah. You don't have to give him $15 million, but there's got to be a sweet spot.
Don't hardball him and not do anything, and we risk all that stuff happening this year. Just figure out something, maybe pay a little more than you wanted to, but you just do it for the simple fact to clear that distraction and keep it moving.
Keep the locker room in a good space, man. I think that the worst case scenario, because we both agree he's not going to miss game checks, the worst case scenario is to disrespect him and make him come to work or don't get paid, and then he comes to work and he's in a shitty mood.
Exactly.
I don't think
and then that's hopefully that wouldn't be a sole reason for anything, but we talk about all these inches and how close we get every year, and this year it was that, and then it was the DeMar Hamlin thing, and then it was Josh Allen drama. Then it was, all this every year, something 13 seconds. And then it's James Cook was in
a bad mood,
sold out on the year. And it's we won't have that next year because he's not on the team. We can't have those. We have to eliminate all of those. And that's, you're right. That might just be something that can pop out of the covers that could be it. I would hope, the culture and, the other 52, can make up for if it does go south and does kind of get into that type of situation. We still got to get through that and push through that adversity and not let that affect us, but that very well could happen. So I agree. I like that point, Rob. I think, if you're being, like you said, it's a fake salary cap anyway, just figure it out.
I mean, who cares?
Get him a few bucks. There's got to be something you can say to this guy that's going to get him in the building and somewhat happy, at least for one more year. Whether it's like you said, a 2-year deal, we'll bump up a few guarantees. You play good 2 years, and maybe we'll even shop you. We'll do a sign and trade or something next year to get you out on another team, and then you'll get a new contract with them or something like that to just kind of ease him up. And because. Yeah,
I just think that there's ways to massage it. If you're Brandon Beane, there's ways to massage it. Instead of giving him $5 million fine, then give him a bump this year. Give him, $8 million guaranteed, and give him a bunch of incentives, and then give him a guarantee. Hey, man, we'll give you your freedom. All I ask is that what did Brandon Beane say? We'd love to see him do it again. We'd love to see him do it again. Touchdowns are not translatable. They're not linear, just like turnovers. You can't. you can't guarantee that we're going to have those limited turnovers and then we're going to take the ball away. Same way, he's not going to rush for 16 touchdowns. So, of course, his agent and, of course, Dalvin Cook, his brother, have told him that. Hopefully, he's not naive. As long as he's not naive and delusional, then he knows that. So he wants to get paid on past performance and future performance.
And cash in on the boom of, the Saquons of the world. And
exactly. So sweeten the pot this year and figure something out.
That's good business on his part. But, yeah, and I like what you said there, Rob. Is a little salary cap issue. We kind of overpaid for a running back. That's way better than the worst case scenario of him showing up and playing like shit, losing respect and all this,
Yeah, so, I just think that there's too many.
And I hope, we haven't seen something like you said, maybe Poyer quickly, and that really was never a vibe of any sort or any worry of any sort. So maybe this is Bean's kind of first one where he's got to, bite the bullet and kind of sacrifice that. All right, yes, it's not in our philosophy to pay this a running back, yada, yada, yada. But we're in the Super Bowl window. We can't have the distractions. Here's $9 million, 2 years,
Exactly. I think that there's something that they can massage and figure out a way to give him a bump this year and maybe again guarantee his freedom next year. And we promise not to tag you, whatever the case may be. So we'll see how it plays out. It is definitely going to be one of the number one storylines as we head into training camp. Again, we're getting ready. One more week of OTAs, Bills Mafia, and then they're breaking for summer. It'll be summer break. Kids are getting ready to get out for summer break. The Bills will be out for summer break as well, and that's when everybody starts to do their praying and hand wringing and different things like that. That everybody stays out of the news for the bad reasons. As we transition, before we get into another topic that we've got, this afternoon's episode is presented by 26 Shirts here on Buffalo Fanbase, the official Bills Mafia podcast network that DT and I simulcast on. Head on over to 26shirts.com. Again, salute to the Godfather Del Reed. He's running a great site over there. Again, portions of your proceeds there at 26 Shirts are going to support a great cause. They're going to help out a family in need in Western New York or across the world. You buy a shirt, a portion of the money goes to a family that really can use it. So you're never going to be purchasing something and it's just wasted money. It's going to be going to a family that really can use it. They've got great concepts over there. So again, head on over to 26shirts.com for all of your latest Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres, and Buffalo City themed t-shirts. DT, what is one of the first things you asked me at the end of our pre-show little soiree yesterday? We're catching up, and you're like, what do you think about 14? And it's so funny because it was a topic, and it was funny because I think it was Wednesday they were talking about it on GR because it had just come out in the afternoon show, and Shope and the Bulldog were talking about it. And it's funny because I tried not to. I mean, yes, I'm definitely a 14 apologist in respects to I supported him. I don't like rewriting history and how a lot of the Bills Mafia, I feel like, shit on him in respects to even his OTA thing when he didn't the mandatory minicap. Excuse me, he came. They lied, said he wasn't there, and then Brandon Bead had to tell. Then McDermott had to tell the truth and said, "Oh, we had a conversation, and I sent him home." That type of thing, let him go home for the day. So I'm like, oh, okay. And we started to smell that. We talked about that a couple seasons ago, DT. And that was really the first rift where we started to see that things could be fractured and things could be starting to unravel. DT, you asked me about him, and it's funny. I try not to get triggered, but Shope and the Bulldog were talking to Shope specifically, and he's talking, and he's bringing up old shit, and he's bringing up the Cincinnati where 14's putting his arms up. We were at that game. We know that there was a lot going on, and obviously the DeMar Hamlin thing gets a lot of credit for that. But I had to call in. I called in. They were busy that night, so I called in the next day, and I just had to get off my chest because I thought that he was misunderstood. We had the literal episode, the miseducation of Stephon Diggs. DT, it's funny because this guy is still polarizing within the Mafia, and he doesn't even play for us. He's 2 years removed from playing for us, 2 teams removed now. He played for Houston last year, caught the ACL injury, was doing quite well before he got hurt. And then obviously he goes to the division rival to the New England Patriots this offseason as their free agent pickup. They overpay for him because they need a wide receiver one. He's on the boat doing his thing. DT, give me your thoughts because I called into GR not to defend that. I was defending because they kind of triggered me with the talking about the past and all that other stuff. And I will not allow people in the Mafia to rewrite the history of 14 and 17. They were a symbiotic relationship. It was good for both of them. And it helped ascend Josh Allen to to the stardom that he is. They were both good for each other, and I won't let everybody rewrite history because he dropped a pass against Kansas City.
Yeah. And it's still polarizing. It's still in the news because all those people, that we've been arguing with the past 2 years, they're playing see how we were right, and it's apples and oranges. I think it's a completely different situation. Am I happy that this doesn't happen and he's on the Bills and he's not at minicamp and this video comes out and he's on the Bills, and that's a whole thing we're battling with this week, and we're probably finding a way to defend him some way. I mean, my defense would be I'm on that boat 100 out of 100 times. I'm on that boat 100 out of 100 times in Miami, having a good time. So I can't blame him for that. But yeah, I mean, it's to the point where he obviously, this wasn't like he got worked on a little bit and was just oh, I didn't know people were he knew kind of what was going on. He knew this was going to get out, and he kind of likes that, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting seeing, the Patriot way and hard ass Vrabel and, how all that's going to go down. But I don't see him. I don't look down upon him for something like this. I think it's more of a, thing in the media. It's Diggs likes kind of pushing the envelope a little and feeling this. And, at this point in his career for a new team, he's made his money. I don't necessarily, he probably doesn't truly believe that the Patriots are true Super Bowl contenders yet.
Of course
and
not.
So, what
he just left us. He knows what a Super Bowl contender looks like. He knows
exactly.
that they're not ready.
It's not that he doesn't care, but he's just I'm just living my life, at this point, and I'm getting paid to play football. I'll come out on Sundays and play hard, and that's basically it. And that's kind of he had a little bit of that vibe in Buffalo, and that's what people really couldn't swallow.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
He didn't say he loved chicken wings. He didn't say he loved blue cheese, and people just couldn't handle that, and it led to, and he's still doing that now. He's I'm not going to OTAs. I'm going to Miami with on a boat with some baddies.
It's voluntary.
My thing. And when it comes to the bag of substance or whatever the hell it was, who cares on that too? Nobody can prove anything. It could be Himalayan sea salt for all we know. And they just the appetizers were a little bland. You need a little seasoning on it. So I'm not rushing to, and that was kind of bothering me on GR all week too. That all these people were
they kept
experts
saying,
experts in these party drugs. They're dude, y'all never even been to Miami. You've never seen a scene like this. Oh, it is print cocaine. And, they're talking there's some doctor, who's that doctor on MTV, Dr. Drew?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it was a little annoying.
It was annoying.
I'm happy it's not, he isn't on the Bills and this is happening because it would just be ridiculousness. But I don't blame Stephon Diggs for chilling on a boat and in voluntary mini camp on a team where he can't even be out there anyway with his ACL and and like we said, he probably doesn't think they're a contender. Let him go on the boat, but they can deal with that now.
It's just funny to me. It's funny because here's the correlation, and we'll move on because it's just, again, he doesn't play for a city board. The correlation that I put was just that it's interesting to me that he's still so polarizing because of the fact that I remember the reaction after the mini camp, the mandatory mini camp, and I was appalled that the next day when I turned on GR, and you guys can go back in the archive and listen to that episode back. I mean, I was going crazy because half of the Mafia kept calling in and saying, trade this dude and get him out of here. And he was in the midst. It was coming off of year 2 of greatness with Josh Allen. I couldn't believe how many of the Mafia, and it wasn't all of the Mafia. So I'm not lumping everybody together, but there was it felt like it was half and half, and it was get him the hell out of here. And I just couldn't believe that nobody was willing to take a step back and look at it from his perspective and see, okay, well, why is this guy possibly upset? If we're upset over 13 seconds, then how in the hell can you be mad that he's not? And I keep getting hit in Twitter with this. Well, he's got to be a pro. and he's got to get in that. And that's what I called GR. And I was like, hey, listen, I think Stephon Diggs was still mad about 13 seconds and he wasn't able to get over it. And everybody on, GR, Chopin both like, we're like, yeah, but you got to be a pro. You got to be better than that. You can't undermine any. And I'm like, I don't think he was trying to undermine anything. I just think he looked at his boss sideways. And I've been looking at McDermott sideways ever since 13 seconds too. So like, I can't expect more of him just because he's a professional, he's paid. I think that he's still a human. And if your boss messes up the biggest presentation that you've had all year, when it's time for you guys to go get and secure this big client, like, you're going to look at him sideways after you guys are walking out of that boardroom. Like, what the hell was that, man? Like, I was counting on you. I did my job. I brought my part of the presentation, was ready to go, and you fumbled this shit. I would be mad. And I think he lost respect for McDermott. I think he lost respect for, some of the people within that organization, not necessarily Josh Allen or anything like that. That was still his guy. He never bitched about targets because he was getting all the damn targets. He never bitched about yards or something like that because he was getting it all. I just thought that the correlation is that half of you guys never really liked the guy, and you only tolerated him because he was scoring touchdowns for your team. And as soon as there was a little hint of diva or anything from Minnesota, you were ready to turn on him. And I just couldn't believe it because the production was so great that you do turn your eyes. That's in every industry. The performers, you always turn the blind eye to the performers because they're the ones that make the engine go. And you know that in your industry with sales, how it goes.
Yep. And in this specific situation, now I agree, with what you're saying on the Bills, but now that's still the kind of the MO of people coming at him this week are like, oh, you got to be a pro, you got to be a professional. Well, that's what you're a pro athlete. You can get on a yacht in Miami with a bunch of baddies and enjoy your day. That's what pro athletes do. That's what we want to be. Like, oh, I want to play football professionally. I also want to go to the clubs and sit with all the hot women and do all the stuff pros can do. He is being a pro by doing this.
I mean, I don't understand it. And I hear you, John. John Sanders chimes in. He says Diggs got his contract extension after 13 seconds. Anybody that says 13 seconds was the reason Diggs left was at least a year too early. And that's true. Like, that's to me, like, he wasn't trying to get out of Buffalo after 13 seconds. He was just upset, and he wasn't letting it go. And I think that, again, what did we talk about? Sometimes people are not comfortable being uncomfortable, and Diggs was always comfortable being uncomfortable, and he was always challenging everybody. And I think that you're absolutely right. There is some truth to what you said too about he would never just, oh, I love Buffalo and this and that. Now, after that whole mini camp fiasco, he did come in and say, and he did pander to the media, and I want to retire a bill and stuff like that. And they're like, well, are you happy? What did he tell them straight up? It doesn't matter if I'm happy. That has nothing to do with my job. My job is to come out and perform, and I'm going to do that. And I think that that's the thing that I respected most about him, was that it doesn't matter if he wanted to go on a yacht with Josh Allen or go golfing. That wasn't his thing. He's a fashion guy. Josh is a golf drinking guy. They don't have to be best buddies for them to perform on the field. When it comes time in between those lines, am I getting ready to do my job? There's no way that for those 4 years you could say Stephon Diggs wasn't ready to do his job. He was always ready. And I guess he dropped that ball against Kansas City, and everybody said he sucked. So it is what it is. Now, as we begin to wrap up today, listen, DT, it's funny because we are getting ready to come to that point in the season where it is going to be summer break, and there's going to be the dog days of summer, and then training camp ramps up. What are some of the things that you are really, really looking forward to? And maybe even you got a player or two in mind, because I've got one for sure that I in my crosshairs, for sure, that I'm going to be watching because of the fact that of all the different chatter that I've heard about him throughout the offseason and last season, things like that. So I want you to go first. But as we start to put a bow on the offseason, we start to get ready for our summer break, and then they'll get back for training camp. Before training camp comes up, what are some of the storylines or players? What are you really, really keyed in on as we get ready?
Well, I mean, we talked about it earlier. I'd like Ford to just get settled and avoid any, future problems with Ford coming up. But I'm a zero in on the defensive line. I want training camp to come in. I want these dudes to look big and bad, and they are. And I want it to be significant out there at St. John Fisher on HBO. That first episode, people saying, damn, this D-line is nasty looking. And it's been a little undersized. It's been underperforming since Mario Williams. It's been underperforming since then. And so I think this is an opportunity to really kind of change that narrative. And, that kind of the bus team, right? Getting off the bus,
Mhm.
those dudes, when they're walking into training camp, damn, these dudes are big. This defensive line is going to be a problem. So that would be something I'd like to zero in on. And I'd like for us to get a safety. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that's going to happen. And that might be a in-camp type of situation.
Okay.
But there's some guys out there that I think are very serviceable that we could get, on the cheap right now. So,
I heard
keep an
like
eye on
Justin
that. Maybe
Blackman or
that's
something
a
like
couple
that.
weeks into
Still out
camp.
there.
Couple weeks into camp, you add somebody in as a depth piece, something like that. But those will be my things. Until training camp starts, I want to see just the beef of this new improved defensive line, 4 to get done, and maybe throw a new safety in there.
Okay, interesting. It's funny because when you talk about defensive line, then I just get like a chill up my neck because I was arguing with. I mean, I'm always arguing with people on Twitter. I told you I love it, But it was funny because somebody was trying to argue and say, I said, well, this is like the second or third time that McDermott and Bean are revamping this line, and like this is kind of a theme of there. And they were like, well, we really haven't done this. We really haven't done an overhaul. And I'm like, what are you like? We draft. All he does is draft defensive linemen for McDermott. Like, what do you like? This is so. It'll be interesting. I'll save all of that. We have a surprise when we do our defensive line preview, not defensive line, but our defensive preview. You guys know every year we do our offensive preview for the year, our defensive preview for the year. We do have a very special guest that's going to be coming on. He is intricately connected to Bills Mafia and to the players. So I don't want to give it away, but we do have a really special guest coming on when we do our defensive preview. And when you said defensive line, it gave me a chill, DT, because we are running out of excuses for McDermott, and I feel like I say that every year. But once again, Brandon Beane loaded him up. What did we say before the draft? We sure this is a great idea? Well, it doesn't matter what I think because they did it. They gave him another shot at it. They revamped his line. I really need to see results, DT. I need to see results from this defensive line this year, because if defense was the reason that we lost last year, what did they say? We scored 29 points. That's plenty to win the game. I agree. So you don't want to blame the offense, even though the last 2 years, the offense did have the ball with a chance to go win the game, and they didn't. Not blaming Josh Allen, not blaming Joe Brady. I'm just stating facts. The offense did have the ball with a chance to win it, and they couldn't get it done the last 2 years. If you want to blame it on defense last year, I don't know how you're going to be able to blame it on defense again this year, because McDermott got everything that he wanted, DT. He got everything that he wanted.
Yeah, it's stacked up. Offense scores the most points in franchise history, gets a little better, line stays intact. Defense, load them up, make stops, make up for those turnovers we're probably not going to get this year.
I like that. Yes, I love when everybody keeps that in mind. Now, DT, on my end, what I'm looking forward to, and you can chime in, this dude, 86. I mean, they love to talk about him. They love to talk about his physique, his matchup, how he's a matchup nightmare, how he's a mismatch for linebackers, how he's too fast for them and he's too big for safeties and all this. Listen, I have to see something, man. I really do. I know that Keon Coleman's in the crosshairs as well, but he's year 2. Kincaid, you're gonna have to make a decision on if you want to pick up this 5th-year option in a minute on this guy. I don't know, man. I haven't seen it. I know that Josh Allen is culpable as well. They did a mock-up and they talked about how he had the most uncatchable passes were to Dalton and Kincaid last year. So Josh Allen is not absolved of any type of criticism from this whole issue, but I've got to see it. Whatever they saw in him and Brandon Beane. I mean, didn't Brandon Beane trade up for him? I think he did, because they had that little run on receivers. JSN went and all those guys went, and then they traded up for Kincaid to make sure that they got him ahead of Dallas. I've got to see it, DT. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he needs to be Josh's new golfing buddy or what this offseason. I need to see whatever they saw. I know I think they said Utah caught 19 passes one week against USC or something like that. And
Caleb Williams, yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm running out of. You can hear me. I can barely finish the sentences. I'm running out of it, man. I don't know. Like if this guy is so special, then I've got to see it. And I know that Josh has missed them on some throws, but goddamn, man, like I need to see it. I haven't seen it yet. I really haven't.
And I think he came out, he was a little more banged up than the eye put on it last year. That was a pretty serious knee situation, and he just really wasn't able to, to be he was able to be out there but not be what he needed to be. So I agree. You know, I defended when Diggs leaves last year and the everybody eats mantra, and you know, we kind of broke it down of like, all right, we need these guys to come up. You know, they need to have 15 more catches. They need to have, you know, this many more touchdowns, this many more yards. And Kincaid was a big part of that, and he didn't really fit that this year. And we kind of got lucked out by a rogue Mac Hollins having a good couple games, and Khalil Shakir kind of overperforming than what we expected, you know, and a few other guys getting involved, and that kind of made up for the lack of efficiency 86 had. So I agree. I think it's getting to a point where, you know, if you're leaving this everybody eats thing, we need the playmakers to make the plays, and Keon Coleman's still questionable. All the other receivers, you kind of know where their ceiling is. You know, it's not going to be we're not getting a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase out of the group we have.
Right.
But Kincaid still kind of has that vibe to him where like he can be the dominant force on this offense. And we haven't seen it yet. You're exactly right. But we see it slowed down a little bit last year, but 87 on the Chiefs, you know, big, but not that fast and not that athletic, and just kind of open and makes plays and gets it done. And it's like, so if this dude is fast and athletic, why can't we see something somewhat similar of that? You know, like he has a lot more intangibles than Travis Kelce, it seems, other than Dayton Taylor Swift. And he's still kind of underperforming. So health has got to be key with that this year. If it's a healthy year and it's still a little blah, I think you have your full answer on what this guy is truly about. If it's a healthy year and he does kind of finally hit that, you know, this would be his third year, but, you know, a real push, then, you know, we might have something. So I agree. He's probably the one that needs to do the most. I think Keon Coleman's still house money in this type of situation. If he's anything good, you know, it's all positive. If he's blah, it's kind of not expected, but we aren't going to be that surprised. But
we knew he wasn't a separator when we drafted him, so that's
86 puts another blah year up. It's going to be heavily criticized. So I think you're on point there to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on him. And again, I know that it's not popular within the Mafia to criticize 17 or whatever the case may be. But we know here we keep it funky. We keep it real here in Nickel City Crew. So I will not absolve Josh Allen of some blame for it, because, again, they had a mock-up and they said like that literally Kincaid had the most out of tight ends, had the most like uncatchable balls. And that, you know, 17 really wasn't putting him in good situations a lot of times. I think he got him hurt in that Indy game or whatever, when that sideline throw, like he let him out. He got him hurt. So I won't absolve 17, but they do have to figure it out. They got to figure it out. We'll see. We'll do the offensive preview next month when training camp gets rolling. We'll do the defensive preview as well. We've got a special guest for that, so I'm really, really excited about that when it comes time to talk for defense, because I am done giving McDermott excuses. I feel like a broken record with that, but we'll see what it goes. Listen, DT, I really appreciate you joining me today. Listen, 600 people, DT, you must be on to something. It must be cold up there in the rough buff in the 716, man. 600 people watching us today. We really appreciate you guys taking some time out of your Saturday down here in Charlotte. It's nice. Give us a Nickel City Crew tailgate report, DT, because we'll be back next week, and then we're taking summer break too, man. So give me a tailgate report. What's going on this weekend? What do you got going? Because it's slow motion down here. I got a few things going on.
Well, we'll lead off the tailgate report with we're official now for Charlotte on October 24th. Had a little miscomm. We won't put any names involved this week, but got excited. Booked the flights down to Charlotte. Woke up the next day, realized wrong weekend. Not the weekend the Bills are playing there. So had to adjust that, but that's all taken care of now. I know we kind of broke that out when the schedule release came out about our plans, and
can't wait.
So that's official. That's exciting. That's going to be a great week. For us and for our fans alike, are going to be able to we'll do some good content that weekend. Oh yeah. Really lay it down in the Queen City. So that's good. And then here, yeah, just trying to get into this warm weather. We're having little spurts of it, and it gets cold. And this weekend isn't great, but just trying to get that golf game like Josh Allen great. And I'm coming out of the gate this year a little hotter than usual. I'm playing decent, so I'm getting out of the drive box okay, and I just got to put everything else together. So that's DT's work the next
All
couple
right.
weeks. Get that golf game in midseason form. Excited to be coming down to Charlotte for real on the right weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I was laughing when you told me that you made it for the wrong weekend, but I was like, they're pretty sure they got those 24-hour, 48-hour rule where you could switch it and get the right date. So I'm glad that you got that all figured out. We cannot wait to host you. We are really, really happy about that. Over here, man, listen, we are slow motion here in Charlotte. We had Quincy's last baseball game this morning, another two rips. I mean, two yokes just right up the middle. So he had a good finish to his baseball season. He definitely was the best player on the team when it comes to fielding and hitting. He really, like I told you, he was kind of lukewarm on it. So I still got to work. I'm like, listen, Monster, you're the best player on the team. I'm like, I won't force you to play next year, but you might want to think about it. But he is all about football. We're getting ready to sign him up for flag football, and he's got his mouth guard. He must want to wear it half the day when he's at my house, like for no reason, just running around with the mouth guard in, working it in. So he's very, very excited for flag football. Can't wait to get that started. We've got my other daughter, Flo. She's got a dance recital tonight, her first dance recital. So we're all getting ready for that. And we're getting ready to go down there tonight to do that. I'm literally looking at the monitor right now. Princess Ivy just woke up from her nap. So she's ready to go. She's raring to go. So we are all getting ready to go support Flo for her first dance recital today. And then what we got tonight, I think it's game 6, right? Game 6.
Yeah, game 6 turning into a great series.
Yeah, I'm really happy that the Knicks won the other night. I want to see it go 7, just for the drama. I kind of, it's one of my guilty pleasures is watching the Knicks fans when they get their hearts broken and stuff like that. So I mean, it's just fun. It's good sports fun. I don't have a dog in the fight, but I really do enjoy that series, and I'm happy that they won Game 5 to force Game 6 tonight. So we're cooling, man. Maybe get some pizza tonight after the recital, nice. And then kick back and watch Game 6, man. But listen, DT, I'm really, really excited that you're coming down. Can't wait. Got the whole itinerary ready for you, man. And we can't wait to host you, man. We're really, really excited. It's going to be Bills Mafia South for sure.
It'll be here before we know it, too. Here before we know it. Enjoy the summer right now, Nickel City, because we know it goes quick. And then as soon as that summer's over, it's literally the biggest blur every year. When week one to when that Super Bowl kicks, literally feels like it's 2 days. So
it really feels, it's crazy how fast the season goes. And you're absolutely right about that. You ain't never lied about that. Listen, out there, Nickel City crew, Bills Mafia, spread love, not hate. Really appreciate you guys joining us today. Listen, these were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Hit it with a Go Bills, DT. We got one more week, then we're on summer break. One more week, then we go on break. Maybe we go on a boat. No Himalayan salt. No Himalayan salt.
No pink Himalayan salt. If it gets over 50 degrees, we might have an opportunity to get on the water. But let's go. Go Bills.
Go Bills. Princess Ivy, she's up from a nap. You gonna say, hey, Princess Ivy, you see Uncle DT? You see Uncle DT? She's getting bigger, DT, huh?
Oh, man, exponentially.
Yes. Princess Ivy says, go Bills. She wants to tell everybody, go Bills. She's not going to talk right now, but she is very, very excited for the season, her second season. She was born, I told you, DT, remember, she was born on a Bills game. So this is my good luck charm. She's going to bring us a Super Bowl, Bills Mafia, Nickel City crew. I can't wait.
I believe it.
Hit it with a Go Bills. Hit it with a Go Bills. Oh, I love it.